Hello, welcome. This is the first Eink Tablet World Cup, and I've planned out a set of 8 tablets are going to be competing today, and there's a set of 4 quarterfinals then, and we're just going to put them through their paces. So this is what you've got coming up. You've got quarterfinal 1, which is going to be the Tab Ultra C versus the Lenovo Smart Paper. That seems to be a bit one-sided, but that's the good thing about competition, isn't it? They can always have surprises, and that's going to be a bit of fun today. The Tab X versus the Supernote A5X is quarterfinal 2. That's just come out in the draw there. Again, seems a little bit of a David versus Goliath there, doesn't it? And Remarkable 2 versus Kobo Elipsa 2E is the quarterfinal 3. And quarterfinal 4 is the Kindle Scribe versus the Note Air 2 Plus. So we will go through this, and I hope there'll be a bit of time for Q&A at the end. We will see. A very warm welcome. This is the Eink Tablet World Cup. It's just a different format, a different way of comparing a whole bunch of different Eink tablets. This is the A5X just here, and that's going to be coming up in quarterfinal 3. No, pardon me, that's going to be coming up in quarterfinal 2. And we've got those 8. Here's the kind of logic behind this, I suppose. Please, you're expected to take part in the chat. You're expected to call out, no, that's not right, or what about this feature, all those things, because you could actually change the course of this as it goes along. Be a bad football crowd that shouts out foul and no fair, etc. This kind of principle of this is, I'm going to presume that most of you watching are a little bit like me, that you're the type of person that's a professional person that has to work hard with a lot of information over large periods of time, that has to maybe solve problems with those pieces of information and works on large projects. That type of worker, a knowledge worker basically, a knowledge working audience. And this is what I want to see, like people cheering out, so it's hard to concentrate because the crowd are so loud. Please, you put your, who do you support in this Eink Tablet World Cup? I'll run through them in just a second again. And if you are like me, then you're probably either considering buying a Eink tablet, or you already have one and you're really convinced of the benefits of them, like the massive battery life, the less eye strain, generally just the comfort with using it, and generally the way it replaces paper like no other device. There are some notable omissions from this starting lineup, and maybe next year I could expand this to have a whole round of 16 as well, perhaps, and even group stages. I did actually count how many tablets I actually have in the studio for comparison, and I'm up to 20 at the minute, which I know is ridiculous, but maybe I have to do something about that. These 8 are the ones that I've picked. I've only put in tablets that I've done a full review of. So if you're like the Tab Mini C, then you're not in this list because I haven't done a full review of you yet, and neither the Big Minis. So it's only what I think that I've spent that time with, and I can give you my honest opinions about them. Maybe they could feature if I do this again next year. Hopefully this is good enough fun that we all enjoy this. So that's why they aren't really in there. It's a different way of doing a bit of a head-to-head basically. So it does not necessarily mean that I think one is better than another. It's not using my normal comparison data that I normally do. It's just a different way of having a bit of fun. It's almost going to be a little bit like a sort of a Pokemon battle or something like that, where you sort of chuck out a feature and see how it stacks up, or like top trumps or something like that. Any tablet could beat any other tablet on certain features in that way. So one might lose today, but on another day they might actually be the winner, and from a different angle, from a different use case, that might be the better tablet for you. So I just hope this is going to give you a bit of an overview of the different options, a good tour of the different options that are out there. It's going to be a bit like a turn-based RGB battle system, if any of you are Final Fantasy players, things like that. And I'll keep score as I go on them, and you can all shout out for your team. And yeah, it's going to be good. I strongly hope. And just one moment just to say a very warm welcome to you all. Thanks very much for joining the live stream. Don't forget to pop your questions in the chat, and I'll get onto them at points during the live stream and at the end in a Q&A session. Supers are available though if you do want to highlight your question, and I will try and get to it a bit earlier. Thanks so much if you're watching this on the replay. Feel free to fire in your questions into the main comments section as well, and I'll get around to answering them. If you're watching it after a day or so, you should find it chaptered out, so feel free to skip around. I'm Kit Betsmasters, and this is the Evaluate Everything show. Let's pop over to live, Kit. And this is quarterfinal 1 with the Tab Ultra C versus the Lenovo Smart Paper. So let's get started. Straight away, the Tab Ultra C is going to use its feature. It's 300 dot per ink. My finger moved too fast apparently. It's 300 dot per inch black and white screen. It's going to use that high resolution in its black and white, the way it displays black and white. And then Lenovo is the older 227 dots per inch or pixels per inch black and white screen. The difference isn't massive for normal reading. It isn't massive at all, but that's an easy win for the Tab Ultra C against the Lenovo Smart Paper there. So it's straight away going to be 1-0. And I'll just keep score on a little notepad for both. And you can see hopefully how you get around them is different on all of them. Here's the notes here. Add a new notebook. I will tell you more about each as I go. So far, the Lenovo Smart Paper 0. I've got into text note by accident. This does text notes as well on the Tab Ultra C. So I'll just go into any notepad. And the Tab Ultra C currently has 1. So that 300 dots per inch is the first score for the Tab Ultra C. And even, straight away after those first opening moments, the Tab Ultra C is really putting the hammer down. It's really winning against the Lenovo Smart Paper. The Lenovo Smart Paper can't live with the fact that the Tab Ultra C has the full Google Play Store. That is one of the biggest things that any full Android tablet is going to win out over the Lenovo Smart Paper. You see some funny pixelation there, and you see that slight delay that you occasionally get when you first do a stroke on the Tab Ultra C. It's finally rendered that start there. I don't actually see that, but I have seen some funny screen effects on that, so I'm not just going to give a point to Lenovo Smart Paper for that, because they both have those occasional glitches, and this is one that's kind of well known as the first stroke sometimes on the Tab Ultra C, especially after changing tools, I think. Yeah. And then it eventually renders. So that's a bit of a funny one. And you can, so you've got the full Google Play Store over here on the Tab Ultra C. You can put different apps onto the Lenovo Smart Paper. But the only way to do that is to actually download an APK or put an .apk file, which is like an install file, onto the machine somehow. And then you can actually add different apps. But of course, you just can't live with the fact that you can't even use anything that's managed by Google Play services, any account management like that. You can't live with it if you don't have the full Google Play Store on here. The next thing is the Lenovo is going to actually show off its quite elegant design. This is quite a nice, elegant design from the Lenovo, I must admit. It's nice and thin. The case is very well made. The kind of two, so it's one slightly etched and one smoother. The metallic finish on the back there. Yeah, it's a very nice finish. So I am going to say out of the two, the design is nicer here on the Lenovo. Tab Ultra C is not a bad design, but we've heard a lot about the camera bump. We know how well that camera bump has been received on the Tab Ultra C. Not very well at all, because it makes everything quite bumpy, unless it's in the case, in which case you just don't mind when it's in the case at all. So, but I think definitely the overall package, they both have these kind of sharp edges, but this is thinner and lighter as well. The Tab Ultra is a heavier machine as well. And I'm just going to need to pick out an eraser or select and then delete it that way. So, there are different options for different erase selections, etc. as well. But let's go for a brush now. Make it as thick as you can be and give it 1.1 gold, if you like, because the design, it is a nicer design. It is a more satisfying finish there. Lenovo is going to try and counter with its software experience. I read a review earlier today. I read a review from an expert source of reviews, which says it thought the software was well thought out on the Lenovo. It isn't. Also, one of the cons actually was that it wasn't quite as nice as Remarkable. And I just think that, are they talking about the build? I think it's just as nice as Remarkable, really, but maybe slightly. But I just thought that was a little bit of a review statement there. And to say that the software was well thought out on here is a bit ridiculous, because it is not. I actually went after this. I went after I read that review. I went back to it and checked if there were any updates, and there weren't any updates because I was having a problem with my planner. And what I do with my planner is I write on a PDF, and I have a PDF planner, and I write my notes on the PDF planner. And I found that when this device rotates, that it doesn't rotate the annotations. So I thought this was absolutely ridiculous that this was the case, that bit of text doesn't rotate in the same way when it is, it doesn't stay in the same place on the page, your actual annotations, when you rotate it. So I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. I was hoping that they'd maybe change that. And then I found that actually, I actually found that when I went back to this library here, which is where my planners were that I'd been using when I'd used this device at school as work as my planner, all my PDF planners were in this library, and they've all just disappeared, as were several other PDF books that I had here on the tablet, just gone. And they're not just gone from the library, they've gone from the whole tablet. So I have no idea how to do that. And it is not a well thought out software experience. And I couldn't find them in the file system at all either. So for that reason, which the software experience, nobody's saying that the book software experience is a smooth one, because it does have its kinks that need to be ironed out. And there's lots of changes that happen sort of to add things that sort of make them harder to use sometimes. The software experience is better on the Tab Ultra C. The Lenovo, say, surprisingly lost my PDF planner, which is crazy, right? So that last one, having lost my PDF planner, I think that counts as an own goal. And luckily, the Tab Ultra C is probably thinking, at this point, we want to get on the subs, we want to conserve our energy for the next round, and we'll just sort of kick the ball about and keep the ball there, because we don't need to beat the Lenovo any more than that. I think it's pretty clear, really, that the winner of this round one is going to be, this quarterfinal, is going to be the Tab Ultra C. I don't think there'll be any surprises in that. I'll just leave them up while I have a look into your comments, and what I'll do is I'll look at the comments just at the end of each one. Yeah, which one did you want me to demonstrate the erasing on? Well, you can actually use styluses with erasers on the back on both of them. You don't get a eraser or an eraser button on the actual Lenovo Smart Paper, which is a bit of a nuisance. And you've basically got two different types of erasing. You've basically got an eraser, well, there's three, I suppose. You've got erase just what is above. So this can like just erase the exact bit that you're going over, or erase the whole stroke. So it remembers when that whole pen stroke was taken and erases the whole thing, or you can erase the area just like this. And that's the same for all of them, really. This, by default, on the back is always just a stroke eraser on this, I believe. Well, that's what I leave it on as. Anyway, I hope that's useful. Yeah, I actually think, to be honest, that the best way to do an eraser is just to have it on the side of the pen, to be honest, as long as the button isn't in a place where you accidentally press it all the time. The book stuff is nice, but it's quite expensive. Yes, it is. The Note Air 2 is going to feature later. Note Air 2 Plus is going to feature later, which would be your cheaper alternative to get in there, or get one of the smaller devices. Yeah, the ceramic nibs, you'll see that on the Supernote. They use a 2-finger gesture on the Supernote, which is very nice. You'll see that later on. And yeah, you've got a Lamy, so you've got a button on the side, like the Lamy pen. Yep. Oh, somebody's a fan. They've got a couple of people got the fans of the A5X. Yeah, that pretty big oversight. Was that the rotating the thing? I know, crazy there. And I've seen Elaine's got some good, Elaine Tech's got some good reviews on their YouTube channel as well. So do go ahead and check them out after this as well. Yeah, I agree, Ruby. I've no problem with it including a camera, but the camera could probably have been included flush to the back of the device. I think the camera bump was a kind of design choice, really. I don't think, in fact, that you don't, if you've got a small sensor, which this will be, you can fit that within the width of the device. That is purely a cosmetic camera bump, and doesn't look good. It isn't even always like perfectly aligned to the edge of the device. It just generally, this is a bit of a travesty, this camera bump. But hey, it's there. I think it's there because if you give something an Ultra name, that was the kind of look that Samsung came up with when they came up with the Ultra. And that's what people kind of expect in a way for some reason. There's a big camera bump. Right, so the Tab Ultra C is going through. There's been no surprises there so far. I'll just set up the next quarterfinal. Thanks so much for watching. Just watching the majority of videos or watching all the way through videos is an amazing way that you can help out with the channel. So thanks so much for sticking around through this live stream. I hope you find it useful and helpful. Let me know though if there's anything that you want to see more of or less of. Don't forget that by hitting that like button is absolutely free, and it does send a message to the algorithm that this is content that people find valuable, and therefore it will help it to spread to more people. So please, before we jump back into the live stream, just scroll down a bit and press that thumbs up. Let's go back to Kit Live. Okay, so this one is it doesn't actually fit onto the screen perfectly well, but this is going to be the Tab X here on the left and the Supernote A5X. And I'll go back to the normal view in just a moment. I'll just respond to one question, which I thought was quite good. I don't know how soccer works, but does that mean they get a red flag? So it's a red card if you get sent off for a foul. So if you see any like fouls, a foul means unfair play, but that wouldn't be a foul because it was just a terrible bit of play. So that would be an own goal. So that was the last goal that the Tab Ultra C scored. An own goal means you basically put the ball in your own net, which is leads to the other team scoring essentially. So let's crack on. Good questions from everyone. Great to have you all here. Let's go back to our view where you can see the whole tablets and less of me. So this quarterfinal really is a bit of David and Goliath. This is a massive screen on here. If you haven't had the pleasure of using an A4 e-ink tablet yet, see if you can find one out inexpensive, an old Lumi or something, old Max Lumi or something, or the old paper, or just see if you can test one out somewhere because it is really, really quite good. You'll notice on Boox, look, it's already synced across the notes from the previous one there as well. So Notepad 2 has been updated. So this is an incredible experience working on a big screen like this. And then there is David in this equation, which is the A5X. So this is the Tab X. And immediately it's going to score because of that big screen. And if you want e-reading, if you want to do a reading of large PDFs or anything like that, having an A4 screen is great. It really is. It's really fabulous. So the little David over here, Supernote A5X, not scoring just so. And it's going to look like a bit of a walkover. It seems on paper this is one of the most mismatched things. Also, we've got other sort of, it's quite standard features actually, but something that doesn't happen on the Supernote. There is no backlight, or rather, my apologies, no front light, I should say, which reflects down onto the ink and up into your eyes. There's no light at all on the Supernote A5X. So that again is going to be another easy win for the Tab X. Wow, what a machine. It does seem straight away that it's going to sort of absolutely blow this one away, isn't it? And it looks like Supernote are going to be going home, but it's half time and pretty one-sided first half. And it's going to take a great team talk from the coach to actually turn things around here on the A5X. And in the second half, sure enough, the A5 comes out fighting. And the world-class accessories, these accessories that they have on the Supernote are excellent. And this is the pen that I believe we were talking about just earlier on, which is the ceramic nib. And the ceramic nib does not wear out. Okay, it's actually harder, it's a ceramic. And it means that when you actually touch that onto the e-ink, onto the surface of the screen, instead of it being a soft kind of either pencil or like a felt feel, then it actually pushes into the screen slightly, and it feels like you're going to do a damage. It feels like you're going to damage your screen. It feels like you're going to scratch the screen at first. But then you realize that what Supernote have done is they've placed this kind of film on the front, which actually indents and then it regenerates. And so it has this very different feel to all the other tablets. It has a very different feel, which is like writing with a rollable. Some people love it, some people hate it. I would suggest it is a better feel for writing like words a lot, whereas this is a better feel. This is a kind of softer touch, felter feel, more felt feeling is better probably for drawing. And the famous remarkable 2 feeling is more like a pencil on paper. So that is going to be a goal for the Supernote A5X. That is, and it's not just the actual the way it indents, but actually the whole accessories and the way they've been thought out, and the whole lineup is actually an excellent point. And I think they're going to get a goal for that. And here's the way that you erase on here. You can actually press 2 fingers on, and it actually turns the pen into an eraser. Get it right. Takes a couple of goes sometimes, just because I'm not being all that used to it. Have not used this that recently, but it does become kind of second nature, that eraser function there, when you're using it all the time. So we're up to 2-1. But the Tab X is this incredible digital sketchbook. I've been doing quite a lot of drawing on it recently, and they've actually changed the pencil tool now such that you do have tilt, and that means that you can get a thin line or you can get a very thick line without changing the actual tool, and that is excellent. I do really like that. The size of it makes it a wonderful digital sketchbook. Having the eraser there all the time as well, it's not necessarily an advantage because you've got your 2 fingers all the time, but I think drawing on this, there is no doubt that the experience of drawing on the Tab X is better than the experience of drawing on the Supernote, so it's going to get a goal there. So what a game so far. The next thing I want to talk about is the A5X and the A6X have this background text recognition. So without even thinking, I'd written that some time ago. I'd written that before we'd actually done the live stream. There we are. It has actually managed to recognize that in the background. It obviously didn't take that long, but what you can be doing is it just saves you so much time and thought, that always your handwriting, when you're in this background text recognition type of notepad, your handwriting is being recognized in the background. It's a wonderful feature. I've got to zoom in, focus again. It's a wonderful feature. And here's why I always say, if you want to write longhand, like if you want to write out large pieces of text, then go for the Supernote, because it just does it, and it does it without you asking to it. So it makes it very, very flowy. And the fact that you can write a whole page, you see it's actually got all of what I've written just there, both the bit I had written beforehand and the bit I've just done there. It just is so flowy. So that's absolutely brilliant. And that is going to certainly be a score for our dear Supernote. Kind of a fan's favorite, the Supernote, I think. So we're up to 3-2. What a game. The next one, the integrated screen share, is actually really, really good on the Supernote. What you can do at any point is you can share your screen to HTML. It's not that one. You can share the document via QR code there. It's from the top menu, isn't it? Yeah, so this one here, which is grayed out currently, I must not be on the internet to save battery life. But this one here, just you click that and then you go to a web page, which is just a bunch of numbers and dots, okay, which it tells you. You go to that web page and you can bookmark that, so it's quick and easy to get back to, and it just shows this on the web page. As long as you're on the same network, it just shows it straight away. No fuss, no setting up, no cables. Really, really quick and easy to share your screen on the Supernote. Fantastic implementation. Now, it's not hard to share your screen on here. You can use Miracast, but you need to have a screen that also accepts Miracast. And what I find in my school, which is really annoying actually, is that the whiteboards don't have Miracast built in, and you have to use the Promethean app, which is really annoying. This is just another app that you have to open before you can use it. Whereas this is very straightforward, very simple to use. And I think that the screen share is going to actually level this one up for the Supernote, which is fabulous to see. So this is really exciting. We were expecting this to be a bit one-sided when the size of this came out here. And lastly, we were talking about we're talking once again about how well designed that whole ecosystem is, how well designed and well thought through all these things are, and how they're designed with people in mind, and how they're designed with the feedback of other people. And they publish their roadmap and they talk about that, and actually it contributes to this almost emotional attachment that people have with Supernote and their A5X. And although the players are looking tired, the last play, Supernote is going to bring up that really well-designed note-taking system. All the additions, like you can link to different pages here on the on this document. You can link to different pages in the whole of the Supernote. It just becomes your notebook. It just does what it says it does. It just becomes your notebook. And you can also build out table of contents by making titles or doing keywords or doing stars. And if you use this well, you can do bullet journaling here on this device better, more seamlessly than any other tablet. It is like a paper notebook, like a bullet journal with all those contents pages and things like that. All of those ideas, you can really go to town with this. Whereas this is very good. It has all the features, but it is still a thought to get around. It's still oh, how do I do this? If you trust your Supernote and you live with your Supernote and you get to know it really, really well, it does become like your right arm. It does become something that you know really, really well, and it becomes really intuitive. It becomes sort of second nature. And that is why this one is going to end up, I'm missing my 3 here. Tab X had 3. The Supernote is going to score a last minute winner, which I'm sure some of you will be pleased about here. And it's going to win as 4-3 here. So actually the Supernote is going to progress into the next round. And I'm going to put this wonderful device as well, the Tab X, definitely one I would consider. It's in your price bracket. I haven't talked about a lot of its features there, but it didn't lose. It just ran out of time against the Supernote. So there we are. So I'll have a little look. Any comments there? Yeah, I had a leather case as well, and I liked it. I liked it a lot, but actually my wife had the cloth one on her smaller A6X, and she really likes that because it's just, I don't know, it just feels a bit more simple. It isn't like, it almost feels a bit precious the leather, whereas this just has this kind of more hard wearing. It's obviously not real cloth, it's like a plasticky cloth, but actually it still feels really nice and soft to the touch. And I think actually I personally prefer this one as well, which is the cheap one, interestingly enough. Theodore's here. A-level physics questions become extremely useful. That's very good. I'm glad, because I'm glad my A-level physics teaching is still helping people out there. Yeah, I know that is a very difficult one, Gianfranco. Still at that price point, many years after the release. We are looking forward to some refreshes here, but they aren't going to be cheaper than that, are they? And that is one thing which I haven't mentioned, and it could come up in a later discussion and debate. Don't forget to be the noisy crowd, everybody, and let us know how you feel about these calls that the referee is making. And we are going to go on to the next quarterfinal right after another word from me. So I just dropped the live stream for a few seconds to tell you something which might surprise you. Did you know that most of the people who watch my channel aren't actually subscribed? Even people that are regular viewers. What's that about? No worries, but really, channels like mine, it really does help with the way that robots decide who to send my videos out to. So take a moment to scroll down and check whether your button says subscribed or subscribe. If it says subscribe, then just click it and let's get back into the live stream. Okay, so quarterfinal 3 is going to be the Remarkable 2 versus the Kobo Elipsa 2E. Again, seems like it could be a little bit of a foregone conclusion, but let's work it through and see what's what. The Remarkable 2 versus the Kobo Elipsa 2E. This is the more recent Kobo. Pen lives in there. It looks like, it could be a bit of an upset because actually there's 2 early goals from the Kobo. The Kobo actually decides to bring up the reading library, and the reading library is massive. And it talks about the fact that the Kobo has these dual color front lights. So you can have warmer light, and you can have colder light, and you can have brighter, and you can have darker. But once more, no light at all on the Remarkable. So actually, I've got no option. The referees had to blow the whistle, and score for having a huge library that you can discover on Kobo, and a score for having lights, which is great to see. Get back into that in a second. I'll just make a quick sheet here on. So nothing so far for the Remarkable. Let's get a nice thick paintbrush. Oh, it is thick. Sure you can do thicker paint than that. Oh, I would tilt. And let's get a bigger tool up as well. That's a highlighter button by default. Oh yeah, it's got a logo on the back. Oh, just 2. So I got ahead of myself there. Did any of you notice that? Just 2-0 at this point. And Remarkable, it's going to try and play the design card. But actually, the Kobo design is really quite nice in my opinion as well. I really quite like this newer Kobo design. I quite like the kind of soft touchy plastic on the back. I quite like the fact that you don't really need if you're made out of this kind of hardware and plastic, you don't really need a back of a case. So you can just get away with the front case. Very easy to detach. I love how easy it is to, how light it is, how easy it is to hold. The Remarkable design is, it's a classic. It's definitely a classic, no doubt. I don't know how I've managed to go back to that book there. It's an absolute classic for a reason. It is really attractive. The reason why it doesn't have a front light is because they've gone for world's thinnest tablet. That is their kind of tagline, the first thing you see when you see on their website. But I don't think there's much in it. I think that actually it's a personal preference. I don't think it's a clear Remarkable wins the design category and Kobo doesn't. I do really like the design of this new Kobo, so I'm not going to give either a score there. So it's still 2-0 to the Kobo Elipsa 2E. The Remarkable is going to bring up that it's got a Wacom EMR stylus, and this is one of the things that really started this whole e-ink tablet or e-paper sort of revolution in tech. And this is really good. It's really low latency. It's almost like immediate, and the pressure just feels just right. The pressure levels are just so easy to make a change. It's always used a tilt, whereas some devices have just got that in now. I feel like the paintbrush has got better since I used this last, actually. Maybe they have improved it in the update. Maybe the pencil has too. Whereas the Kobo has this, it's not bad, but it is a bit slower. It doesn't have tilt. It just doesn't feel as good. It doesn't feel as accurate. It has this it's a battery powered stylus. I think these are called active capacitive styluses. So it's quite good. It's quite snappy. It's an improvement on some others that I've used, but every device that has a Wacom EMR stylus is going to beat any device at the minute which doesn't, even up to and including, in my opinion, the Apple Pencil. Would rather have a Wacom EMR stylus than an Apple Pencil. You might say, oh, isn't the S Pen quite good, the Samsung Pen? Yes, I would say that is just as good, because that is also Wacom EMR stylus technology as well. So if you've used that, then I would really like that. Then you're going to really like the EMR stylus here. So is there time for a bit of a comeback? Is the comeback on? The Remarkable is going to talk about its keyboard case. It's going to show off this trick, which it has. You've got to choose the right side to open it up from, because it does not open up in the way that you would expect. The keyboard is actually hidden underneath the device here. And the keyboard is really good. The keys are large. It doesn't feel too cramped. It's obviously not going to beat out a full-size mechanical keyboard. There's lots of key travel for something so slim. And the way they've hidden it away is really, really quite clever. And you've got to hand it to them. That is an excellent piece of design. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Apple copying that really soon, which that would be a big compliment, wouldn't it? So definitely it's 2-2 at this point. The keyboard case comes along with the cloud typing changes that they've made, and they've enabled you to actually type in things in the cloud, and you can essentially you can write in here. You can use handwriting recognition really well on the Remarkable, and then you can edit it with that keyboard case as well, which is great. That's a wonderful feature for writing. And the Kobo does have its advanced notebook feature as well, which I'm in a basic one just here. But the advanced notebook feature here on the Kobo is really disjointed, because it's like every single time you do something, you have to ask it to recognize. Every single time you say recognize, it pops up with a little dialog box. And there's not really any, it's obviously it seems quite quick these 2 times. Yeah, it has been quick, yeah. But for a longer piece of writing, if you want to write a whole page, that dialog box stays there for a while. If you want to write a whole line, let's write a little bit longer. It's just a bit disjointed. Whereas you've just seen the A5X and doing the recognition in the background. Actually, that's fabulous. That works really, really well. And then to edit it, you have to bring it up big like this. It's quite good the way you edit it, and there's different strokes for like remove the space. Oops, they put this there. It always gets me. They put the down arrow right where your palm is going to sit, which it knows I'm right-handed, yet it's still just there. So there are gestures for like remove a space or start a new line. There are gestures for like insert a word or delete. And, it's really quite well organized. It actually is the Nebo app is what it is. And it actually is the Nebo app you can get on Android or iPad tablets. So it is something that works, but it's just this having to tap it to do it and coming up with these processing things all the time. And trust me, it takes longer at times. This is showing it at its best at this point here, which is quite good. It takes longer at times. Whereas with the Remarkable, what you can do is you can go ahead and write for a longer period of time. If I go to a ballpoint, don't know how well it's going to manage this. I go convert notes to text. Now, I don't think it's perfect. It has got that perfect. I don't think it's perfect because what that does is it inserts a kind of text page straight after. So that's now a new page. And what I'd prefer is just to have the other one almost have like a page of writing on top, the handwriting to be like the first visible one, and then sort of underneath that page, sort of switch into a text view where I've edited the text down that I want. What you can now do with this one, of course, this page, you can actually annotate on here. Or you can pull out the keyboard and you can click in here. You can edit the text in there, which that's all quite nice. I must say, I think that the way they've got the text is generally quite nice. And what was wrong with it, what was stopping me using it, in fact, I did want to write something on it. What stopped me using it was that when you copied that out of the web app, or rather the desktop app, when you went and found the desktop app and you found this note and you went and copied that bit of text, if you copied anything longer than that, anything with different lines, then actually what you'd end up with is you'd end up with a funny little symbol like between each line that you'd have to go through and delete every single time. So it's really frustrating. Whereas you've written a whole thing and you don't expect to have to spend time just going back and pressing the delete button to get rid of a funny symbol it's come up with. So I would say that that was a bit of a deal breaker. That was really annoying. But I went and I checked today, actually, just before this. They have actually updated that, and that no longer happens. And you can copy and paste straight into Word, and you don't get that annoying symbol. So that's really good. So it's going to stick actually at 222 here. So we've here they're a bit tied. There's a bit of personal preference. Both have got good things, and both haven't. And I spent a bit of time with this because I was thinking, just for drama, really, I was thinking of, is there any way that Kobo can win this? And it's going to be really tough. You think about the different pencil tools. And when I first used this pencil tool, and this is what it defaults to, when you first arrive in the ecosystem, it says scribble here, and it defaults to this pencil tool. And the first, I put my pen down, it wasn't doing anything. And I put it down a bit harder, and I was like, oh, look at all the different marks I can make. Look at all the different kind of textures that I can build up with this digital ink on this digital paper. And I was actually astounded by the pen tools at first when I first used a Remarkable One. And I still am very impressed by them. They're absolutely brilliant. And you just don't get that with the Kobo. You just don't get anywhere near that kind of level. You wouldn't want to use this for drawing. So if you're interested in drawing, the Kobo, just don't even make it a part of your thing. There is no pencil tool for that reason. I mean, you could do some nice things, I guess, with different shades that you can get in there for drawing, but no, it's not quite. It really could be something. The drawing experience here could be absolutely brilliant. But okay, in the last minute, the Kobo does have the Kobo Plus subscription, and that is a good value option. So you can pay for Kobo Plus, and then you can actually have free to read books along with audiobooks in your e-reader as well. And the audiobooks can actually play out on Bluetooth to Bluetooth speakers. So you could be reading something and then just carry on from there it is, Kobo Plus. Look, you can have Kobo Plus on here, and you can listen and read at the same things as well. And that is a good value, even good value compared to the Kindle Unlimiteds of the world as well. So I think that perhaps just having that option to use the Bluetooth is just going to pip it to one more goal here. And I think having that option, all the reading options, the Kobo Plus and the Overdrive, I don't know if you saw there, which is library lending, is all going to be a goal here, because you can read loads on here. And this is a more versatile tablet, really, because it's a good reader as well as a good writer. And in fact, I think in this comparison, on this day, the Kobo Plus is just going to take it. Okay, it's actually a really, really good reader, whereas you're limited to just PDFs and EPUB, I believe, on the Remarkable. So you really are, this is a really limited reader. Okay, there's a good reader in that you can actually, there's a Chrome extension for Read on Remarkable, which you can actually just one click and it will send it to your Remarkable as long as you're on the Wi-Fi. That's really, really good. So it comes through as just a little web article that you can read on here, and you can annotate it just like a notebook. Really like that. But the Kobo has Pocket, which is a way of, you can do exactly the same, essentially. You can just paste in a link to Pocket online, and it will pull it down as a web article, which you can read on the Kobo. That's really good. But you've also got Overdrive, which is your library lending as well. So in just final minutes, there's desperate attempts from Remarkable to win this, and they're going to play the distraction-free card once again. But Kobo is also a distraction-free experience, and it's a distraction-free experience which encourages reading. And I think that's why I had such a good time on the Kobo, is because it really encouraged me to read. And as a professional, don't you just find that the more you read, the better just about everything that you do becomes? I certainly do. So it is a massive upset, but the Remarkable 2 is going home out of the Eink Tablet World Cup. I'm interested to know what you guys think of that, if there's some angry comments there as well. As I said at the start, it does not necessarily mean I think one is better than the other. If you want my sort of final thoughts on each one, then you can go ahead and go to my comparison tables, which are all on ewritable.com, and you can look back at where I've done full reviews, and you can look at that data itself. It was a nostalgia purchase for Remarkable too. Yeah, it is a bit like that, isn't it? There's a classic element to that design. Really do like it a lot. Yeah, Remarkable keyboard design is great, and yeah, they have thought through the UX, but what they haven't done is they haven't given much to you as a user, and they've used the kind of like, oh, everything's so well thought through as a kind of excuse, and I don't think everything is as well thought through, because I think, I don't know, I think if you look at the depth that's gone into thinking through the Supernote, I think the Remarkable lags behind that. And the Supernote is an example where the notebooks are just so well thought through. Yes, they are not as intuitive. Yeah, they aren't, the buttons aren't always where you expect them to be. But once you do learn the Supernote user experience, it does just sort of make sense. And that's a really nice experience. But that's an interesting point. It would have been nice to have seen a Remarkable versus a Supernote. Perhaps I'll save that for a more serious comparison video. I've done that comparison video several times. Supernotes come up in the considerations. Just rebought a Remarkable 2 because it's draw and I don't ever need to cast. Yeah, okay, absolutely. Drawing on the Remarkable, I think the Tab X for drawing is still where I want to be at this point. I think they can make the Tab Ultra even better, Tab Ultra C even better, if they give you access to all the colors. Let's hope they do. Yeah, all in on Supernote have had a light. I hope that one of the examples, one of the variations in the next sort of lineup of Supernotes, I really hope one of them has a light, because there's a lot of people like you who will be just converted by that. I like the 2-finger scrolling as well, just saves accidental pressing. Although I had a comment recently which was like, yeah, it does, but actually, again, once you get used to it, you don't get the accidental presses. Interesting to compare maybe the Kobo to the Scribe. Well, the Kobo's gone through, and the final quarterfinal is Kindle Scribe versus Note Air 2 Plus. So you never know, you might get that comparison, Ruby, if the Kindle Scribe can get past the Note Air 2 Plus, which is a big if. But after a word from me, I'll be back with that quarterfinal. Thanks so much for joining the live stream or for watching the replay. Just being here and watching the majority of the videos is a really, really useful way to help my channel grow. But if you want to say thanks in a really simple but also meaningful way, it's just to share out my videos like this one. Just copy the link from the browser or press the share button on your phone and copy the link, then paste it into wherever you discuss e-ink tablets. A group on Facebook, a Reddit subreddit, or a Discord server. Pop that link in there and say, Kit's demonstrating e-ink tablets live. Jump in. Again, I love hanging out with you people, and I appreciate you spending your time watching these live streams. I really enjoy making them with you. Okay, so here we go. The last two in the quarterfinal, the final quarterfinal. It's a good one, actually. This is a really well matched quarterfinal, in my opinion. Kindle Scribe is on the left, and the Note Air 2 Plus is on the right. I really like the Note Air 2 Plus, and I really think this was the moment where it all kind of made sense to me, and the book system kind of made sense when they brought this one out. And yeah, I actually, this is a funny device. This and the Supernote A5X are the device that I look back on massively fondly. I'm sorry for the distraction. I'll just turn it into distraction free. There we are. Now it's a distraction free device because I've turned off the I've turned on the do not disturb thing there. Oh wow, yes, I know. Isn't this going to be a good one? Yeah, everyone call out what you think here. They are different still, aren't they? And the Kindle is going to come at the Kindle is going to come at the books first of all with the great Kindle library. It is a great Kindle library. Here we go. I'm reading Slaughterhouse 5 on Kindle Unlimited, I believe. Oh yeah, but I can do that on here as well. So actually, I don't think there is a massive difference between using Kindle on the Kindle app and using Kindle on a Kindle itself. One is not so much better that it's just worth getting over the other. They both look perfectly great. They both look absolutely fine, and they both read well. They both turn pages. They're both a good experience. So currently no score yet. It's 0-0. Okay, and I've actually done a video where I've talked about the app versus actually Kindle on a real Kindle recently. So the Note Air 2 Plus is going to actually go on the attack again with this really beautiful design, and I think the color of this is lovely. The metal is lovely. It's not very fingerprinty. You know, it's quite matte here as well. This seems to be a demo everyone does, isn't it? When they get a new deck, they go, "Oh, there's a fingerprint magnet or not." It's a really nice design. This is when they got the magnetic snap right. There's a little mark on both, which you line up. It holds well. There it is. I really like this. It's a really thin tablet. You know, when you compare this to the Note Air, when you compare this to the Tab Ultra, it's got these rounded sides. It's a bit slimmer. It feels more notebook-like. And this is when they added the magnetic case, which has benefits and drawbacks as well. And the Scribe, loads of people absolutely adore this design as well. I don't adore it, but it's not bad. It's certainly, you've got to say it's good if everyone thinks it's good. I think it's really good, but can you see it's quite a smudgy design? After that, they've both got similar design elements. Really, there's no score here either. It's going to be a draw in that aspect, that design aspect as well. Both have got the lovely paper feeling screen. Both have also got the aluminium construction. Both feel really, really good, really premium. I can never find my way around Kindle devices. I don't know why. Where'd you go? There you tap at the top, of course you do. Because I know I need a notebook to keep score. No. See, it's come straight through what we were doing earlier on from the other books devices that we've been looking at. So no score so far. It really is a bit of a cagey match, isn't it? Really fascinating, really interesting one. The Kindle is going to come in though with its 300 dot per inch screen. This is the best black and white reading experience. It's the best screen for reading words on. It's the best screen for writing notes on at the minute, unless you need color. It's an excellent screen. It's really well evenly lit. This isn't bad. You don't sit there all day and think, oh, I've got such a pixelated screen. But there is a difference, and there is a benefit to having 300 dots per inch. And this is the only place currently that you can get this screen. It is still an exclusive to Kindle screen. Both of them have very nice lights, which have got a full range of warmth and coldness and brightness, and both are really evenly lit. So there's not much in the way they're lit. They're pretty similar. But the 300 dots per inch, it is a better screen. It is noticeably to the eye a better screen. So Kindle is going to score 1 there. So it's 1-0 to the Kindle Scribe. And it's going to carry on being quite cagey. Nobody really wants to lose this one. And the Note Air 2 Plus, it certainly doesn't want to concede again. The Note Air 2 Plus is going to come in and actually say, well, look, the big benefit of being me, the big benefit of having the Note Air 2 Plus is the Google Play Store. Full Google Play Store, any Android app that you could possibly like. Sure, it is not as great for apps as it is on the Tab X. But if I go into a speed mode, you can see that I can still scroll very easily. I can still do a lot more here. I can still browse the internet well. I just don't have that supreme kind of color and refresh rate that we do on the newest, the Tab series of books devices. So it's very, very good. But the just being able to have all these apps, and you can have them all. You can write in Word if you like. You can keep your notes in X tiles. You can read on Scribe. You can use your Gmail. You can do everything that you could want to do on any Android tablet. You can do it here on the Boox Note Air 2 Plus. So it is going to get, and you can do that Android thing of going to your recents and going back to the thing you're working on. The multitasking on Android, just so natural if you use an Android phone, certainly. So it's 1-1. And that's actually going to be full time. So it has been a bit of a cagey quarterfinal. It's been a really difficult one. And so we're going to have to go into extra time. And here's how it's going to be decided. This way you start to get mistakes, start to get quick goals, surprise goals. The Kindle has the highlighter button on the pen as well as an eraser button on the pen. So the Kindle has 2 buttons on the pen, and as far as I'm aware, you cannot use both buttons. Can't use the second button on anything on the books platforms. So the Kindle is going to score another goal for this really quite good pen. And then Kindle also has a wonderful, this is probably the best pencil tool that there is, even better, even greater control over the tone and the tilt compared to the Remarkable, even better drawing experience than the Remarkable in terms of the tool, at least. It's not as good in terms of you have layers and things like that on the Remarkable as well, but the Kindle does have a great drawing experience, so it is going to get a extra time goal for that. Is there time for another 2 goals from the Note Air 2 Plus? Well, one thing you can do is, if you don't like this as a way that the device works and launches, where you start the home menu, basically the way it looks, the operating system is always Android. The way it looks and appears and some of the sort of the navigation around it is called the launcher on an Android device. And you can pick any launcher you like at all here on the Note Air 2 Plus. The basic overall use of Android isn't going to change much, but you can customize it to your heart's desire. And that's why it's going to score a late goal, but it's not going to be quite enough. It's been a bit of an epic battle between these two. It isn't going to be quite enough though, and the Kindle Scribe is going to progress to the semis. Wow. So yeah, there's check comments before we wrap that up and get in with the semis. Annotating books though, yeah, I think I didn't mention that, but reading on there. But the Kindle Scribe is going to go forward to the next one, so we'll see more Kindle Scribe. Do you mean annotating directly on books, Ruby? Did it live up to expectations there, Gianfranco? By scrolling, I meant the continuous page feature. I had an Onyx Boox and I missed that feature. Yeah. I'm just wondering how you. Oh, do you mean like zooming in and zooming out, like a infinite canvas? I don't think Boox does give you infinite canvas. You have larger canvas and you can zoom around. Anyway, one more thing from me, and then we're back in with the semi-finals. The semi-finals are, so we get excited. Let's have a little look. What do we have? We had Tab Ultra C won the first quarter and Supernote A5X. So that will be semi-final 1. And semi-final 2 will be the Kindle Scribe versus the Kobo. So the battle of the readers there. Fascinating the way this has turned out. I'd love to get the Scribe have more features like links, headings, better exporting, and quick switch. Yep, well, we will get the chance to talk more about the Scribe as we go forward as well, my man. So one more thing from earlier on me, as I say, and then we'll get... Thanks so much for watching. Please do post your comments and your questions in the chat, and I will get to them during the Q&A session at the end of the video or at key points during the video. Don't forget that super chats are available if you want to really highlight those questions to me. Totally no expectation there. If you do want to support the channel monetarily, then that option is also available. I've also added channel memberships as an option because many of you have been generous enough to give super chats in the live streams, and I wanted a way to actually offer something of value in exchange for that kindness. So rather than just buying me a non-alcoholic beverage with a super chat, now you can join me for one with only members straight after every live stream. Okay, so Super Final 1, Tab Ultra C versus Supernote A5X. Now, the membership offer is there. I will in the future, once we've got enough members here and once we find times when we can be online together, I will do members only live streams. But what I'm doing instead of members only live streams at the moment is I'm doing members only videos, which are like when I get a new device, I test them out. The first kind of testing that I do, which I don't normally show to everybody because it's a bit raw, I put that up now as a members only video. So it's a kind of video that maybe you're not going to want to actually go through the whole thing, but as quickly as possible, I'm going to put up some 4K footage of it actually working. There will be me talking through it and having a look, but there'll be a fair bit of me working things out. But you'll be able to actually see the devices in action before anyone else, really, if you get that membership package. That's the main thing there. Do check it out. I would love to see you in there as well. Let's get on with our semi-final. The first of the semi-finals, the Supernote here on the right and the Tab Ultra C here on the left. So I'm going to reset the scores. Well done there. So I'm so used to doing that 2-finger swipe that I do it automatically on other devices as well. Why is that not starting now? Is it because it's probably because it's still updating from the cloud? Oh, wow. This does not happen regularly on the Tab X. There we are. Okay, yeah, that is not a good showing for it. Well, let's have a little look at this then. The Tab Ultra C versus the Supernote A5X. The bookies really going to have their money. They had their money on the Tab Ultra C versus the Tab X semi-final. That's the thing. They really thought it was going to be Tab Ultra C. They really thought it was going to be the battle of the bookses here, but the Supernote pipped through there. It really, it showed its character and it drew on some of its core strengths to get past the big boy, the Tab X. Really impressive performance there. Let's make sure we're at the right point. And this is quite a personal comparison for me. Seems like a funny thing to say, but it's sort of my heart versus my head, really. And I think I really loved using the A5X when it was my daily driver, and I'd love to go back to it, and I do still go back to it when I want to write in long form. It's one out of all of the Eink tablets that I would use if my life was simply writing and note taking. This would be my absolute in my bag all of the time. If that was all I really needed to do, just need to write words and make notes on things that I was reading and learning about, I would still be using this as my main one. But my life isn't just that. So one's my choice for writing, this Supernote, but the other is my choice for productivity, and it's my choice for really just about everything else. This is probably a kind of battle of my hand-on-heart favorites, and I shy away from saying favorite device on this thing because it is so subjective. But for me personally, if I was going to choose to buy either device with my own money tomorrow, I didn't have any of them, these are probably the two I would be agonizing over. So it's an interesting comparison, even though they're quite different. And I think my head would probably choose the Tab Ultra C. But, to get past the Lenovo, the Tab Ultra C didn't even need to bring up the color. It is a color screen. And as you can see straight away, apps look so much better in color. I'm wondering which app to go for first. Just reading looks so much better in color. Excuse me, so much better in color. And if you need to read academic PDFs, or if you want to read comics, then having the color is just going to make your life so much better. No, not one again. If you want to look at artwork, if you want to read comics, having the color there does make things just so much better. There's just so much more you can do. If you want to add color to your notes, there's just so much better. So it is going to bring up color this time. It is going to use its kind of core strength there. And the Kaleido-free screen is very good. It's not a perfect implementation of color, but it is very good. That is an issue that it does need to sort out, but it's probably tells you, like, that seems off the bat like something that would really annoy you. It probably tells you how much there is to love about this, the fact that I totally forgive it that. And I know it's there, and I will absolutely acknowledge it. It is something that they need to sort out. I'm sure they can sort it out. They must just have not worked out how yet. But actually, adding color to Eink has been really, really good, and it is a benefit. And it also didn't need to bring up its use of the GPU. And the GPU means this screen performs, usually apart from this note taking out, so much better in so many different scenarios. If I now go to a web browser, that makes sense as a place to go and have a little look around, check the news, why not? Now, you can actually use this as a web browser, and I think that is because of the color, and it's because of the way it refreshes this screen. You see how quick that is, even compared to, if you think back to the black and white on the Note Air 2 Plus, and this isn't even in the fastest mode, this is in the balanced mode, which is what I'd pretty much leave it on. If we go into ultra fast, and you can see scrolling is, it's no 60 hertz, 120 hertz machine or anything like that, but it is quick. And the other interesting thing is, what you'll notice, I hope, is when you move something, it actually clears up the screen. It leaves the ghosting and then it clears up the screen. And as far as I know, apart from the tab lineup, there is no other Eink tablet that does that. As soon as the competition figure out how to do that, do you see it clearing out? As soon as the competition figure out how to do that, then there'll be interesting discussions to have. But right now, this is just simply the best implementation of Eink that there is. And it is therefore going to score another easy goal. And really, this is the thing to do at this stage in the competition. If you can, so it's got that was the second goal, is to just win the game nice and early, and then use the time to conserve your energy for the last kind of battle. And then finally, the way it uses the screen, that's just absolutely streets ahead. But we didn't even mention the keyboard case when we were in the quarterfinal. And again, that's another improvement. Another thing which the Supernote just can't keep up with at this point. You can have a Bluetooth keyboard on here, but it doesn't have this with the pogo pins really quick. Never have a problem connecting or anything like that. Although it's difficult to connect a Bluetooth, but it's just another step, which means that for me anyway, I would use that less than having the keyboard case on there all the time. I really do like the keyboard case. Apart from, you have to remember to take it out if you want to draw something accurately, because you do have this weird kind of magnet bump. You'll be able to see that bump there, look, where the magnets of the keyboard are underneath that. So it's 3-0. And really, that's one of those matches that you really look forward to this matchup. You really think, oh, this is a really exciting one. But really, in the end, it becomes a little bit disappointing. You have to accept that in football, because what do the players want? They want to get through to the next round. They are going to try their best, and there's still all those wonderful things. But really, I think it probably took it out of the Supernote to get past the Tab X in the first, in the quarterfinal. So that, unfortunately, will be retiring, and we'll be looking forward to a final, one of the finalists, which is going to be the Tab Ultra C. Any surprises there? Kit compares tablets, and the Tab Ultra C beats the Supernote. Let's have a little look. Interesting, yeah, the Big Mi's. Are they more customizable than the Boox devices? We'll see. I'm doing a full review of them at the minute. I'm using the what's it called? I'm using the Inknote Color Light with at work at the minute as my planner. It's fine at the minute. We'll see. Is it going to beat Tab Ultra C? Almost certainly not. I'll say that right now. But it is certainly a good device. Yeah, certainly a step in the right direction from Big Mi, and I've made some content on that one already. Other people really loved the Scribe hardware-wise, so we're going to bring that back in. A second semi-final is going to be the Scribe versus the Kobo. So that's coming in next. Boox devices have much better notes apps. Yeah, and you can use any app as well, of course. I'm a pen thinker, and anything I'm creating a teacher, I'm doing with a pen before anything else. Your clear explanation of how the Supernotes for writers is what led me to buy the Supernote. Good. And are you happy with the Supernote, Cassie? Have you? I hope you haven't regretted that decision. One of the things I say quite a lot is buy with confidence, because, one question I had when I was researching Eink tablets was, am I going to buy this and be totally disappointed? Is it kind of like one of those things that just looks good on screen and is made to look really good in the marketing materials, and actually you get it and you're like, oh, not so sure. But I think, honestly, I said the Lenovo Smart Paper was the worst ink tablet I've ever used, and that is true. It's that or the Boyu probably, but it's still brilliant. and that's the thing. Like, it's still, if that was the only choice of ink tablet, I would still be recommending that you buy one, because it is still brilliant. Thinking about getting a Kobo for some time, and it would be great to see it against Scribe. Well, let's not waste any more time then, my man. Let's jump straight into it. I'll have one more break before the final, but we'll just jump straight into this one now. So let's go into it. Oh, Cass is getting it today. He'll let you know. Have a Samsung tab for my other productivity needs and wanted to know something that was Eink would be just for writing. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, that's the way to think about it, Cassie, is just to have, it's just to have one thing for writing. Like, say you're a pen thinker and you can't really think in that way on a Android tablet with an LCD screen, can you? Just take your time to get to know it is what I would suggest, Cassie, because it at first it kind of feels a little bit like why would I why, and then you realize, oh, that is actually quicker, that is easier, that is well thought through. So take your time to get to know it, forgive it a little bit at first, and then like gradually just keep going with it, keep returning to it, and you will like it. So no one was expecting this to be in the semis. No one was expecting the Kobo to make it through its quarterfinal even, but it did. That's interesting. Just shows though what a strong field there is. There's no poor teams in this World Cup this year. Very, very good. We're back to 0-0. The Kindle also and the Kobo, as you see, they both wake up really, really quickly. The quickest of all the devices. What's the biggest on here? Is it the marker? Yeah, probably. Okay. Very different devices, but also very similar. They're both readers. And these are probably the two devices. If you were to tell me, right, I need a device which is going to be a good e-ink tablet. It's going to be a good, and I primarily want to read on my e-ink tablet, I would say look at either of these two. And if you're just looking, you're literally what you want a reader, but you also want occasionally be able to write on it, like just a quick notepad. Then these are the two devices that I would be steering you to. I'm going to try and make them less bright, both of them, because then my camera should brighten up a little bit as well. It probably is the Kindle that does it. Yeah, that looks a little bit better, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. So moving on. So because they're primarily readers, then it's really the libraries is probably the most important comparison to make. So let's go out to the libraries on both. Not just my library, but the kind of, the libraries you can buy from. And they're both absolutely massive. Okay. The size is important. And I just presumed really that the Kindle was a bigger library, but no. They're all both about the same, and they're both always going to have any kind of big novel, any kind of big book that comes out. They're both going to have them. Really, they're not going to not put them on Kobo, unless they're doing a brief kind of Kindle exclusive, which some people do. But they both have over 3 million books, so there's no score there. There's no difference there. There is a slight difference between the formats that they accept, and the Kobo can actually handle more formats of books. So including, it can handle DRM-free EPUBs, which you can't do on the Kindle. And you can actually put books on here by USB. You can load them up in any way. You can load up PDFs onto here, but that's about your lot on Kindle. And the PDFs have a bit of an odd workaround on Kindle as well, which I wouldn't be recommending. But you only really have the books that are purchased through Amazon. But most people are going to actually stick to books they've purchased on the device anyway. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. I wouldn't suggest for a moment that the difference in formats is going to be a big difference either. So there's no score here either. Both support library lending, but there's kind of different things in different regions. Overdrive is the thing that you can have here in on Kobo. So you can have a sort of library lending there if you're a member of your local library. And there is, I think, Libby allows you to send library books to your Kindle as well. So Libby is an app that you can use to do that. But some regions that'll be okay, and some regions it won't be okay. So there's no score there. I can't say definitively either the libraries are only better. Kobo Plus is the thing you need to use if you want to get sort of a subscription based and then get free ones. So Kobo Plus is very, very good. It's got lots of text as well. I think I read 1.5 million books to read and over 150,000 audiobooks. And all of that is at £11.99 per month. £11.99, it might be different, a dollar amount. But £11.99 a month, 1.5 million ebooks, and 150,000 audiobooks. And Amazon says they have more than 1 million in Kindle Unlimited, so not quite as many, but sort of roughly the same sort of value, and 200,000 books on Audible. But Audible works different because you can actually you get one book per month for your subscription for £7.99 for Audible. And you also have to pay for the Kindle Unlimited separately. So I would suggest maybe there's better value to be had on the Kobo Plus rather than the Kindle. And then to use Whisper Sync, which is a great feature on Kindle, but probably hardly used because you have to own both the Kindle book and the Audible recording as well. So that's cool, but actually you have to buy the book twice to use it, and most people won't do that. Although I have really enjoyed listening to and reading some free classics on Amazon over the summer, including lots of choice in kind of classic reads for my children, which has been great. This has been coming out at all of the time, the Beatrix Potter series there, because we've got all the books here, but when you're traveling, you don't want to take a stack of Beatrix Potter. And when your child is 3, he just wants to read Squirrel Nutkin over and over and over again. And it's great. And actually, you can have this on your phone as well. So it really is in your pocket or your smaller portable color. We took the small portable color e-readers like the Tab Mini C and the S6 we took with us. So we're able to bring that out and read to them with color illustrations for them to look at on the go. So Kindle library-wise is really, really good for that reason as well. And most of you told me that you prefer the Kindle library to the Kobo library, and it was about twice as many people said Kindle over Kobo. So I think it's probably still a tie here as well. I think there's probably no score here either just yet. So I think it's still 0-0. Now, one difference that will come up now is that people like the fact that you can actually write directly onto books on Kobo. And what actually happens, you'll see I have zoomed from this position. What actually happens, because the reason why you can't do that on every Kindle book, see there's no way to actually write on here, is because books on Kindle, they reflow. So if I change the zoom, then it changes the layout here. And if I happen to start from a different point, it can change where I'm up to. You can see what the Kobo does, the way they get around that is by, they actually, if you're annotating in a different view, a different font size or whatever, then they sort of save the view that was. And that's funny, isn't it? That's, oh yeah, because now is a different zoom or a different position, it's saved it down there. And I actually think that is a bit janky, to be quite honest. It's nice to be able to write on it, I suppose, but really you don't have much room to write on it anyway. I actually quite like the way the Kindle does it, where you can highlight a section and then just do a note, in which case you can do a handwritten note. Oh well, they've actually added lasso to this as well, which is cool. Finally, it's remembered to use the big tool. Yeah, we asked for any tool here. That's nice that they've now added the same note-taking tools here as well, which is a new thing, which I hadn't actually realized they'd done until just now. So, and that's actually quite good. And then it appears there with the highlight, and you just tap that and it comes up, and actually there's a bit more space to write a little bit more there. The nice thing is about this as well is you used to run out of room, but now I guess what you could do is select and resize, which is quite cool. And now you can buy yourself a little bit more room. So you could effectively write something and make it half the size and give yourself a bit more room there as well. So actually note taking, loads of people want it this way. And I don't mind. Why not give us both? Don't think you can, you see, you can't handwrite in here. So give us both, Kobo. You can do it. Give us both, Kindle. There's no reason not to. There are some write on Kindle books now as well. And that was a big feature in the last sort of launch, which is cool. It's nice to see. However, they, where am I going to find it? I just find finding things really difficult in Kindle, full stop. Kids being uncollected. I could search, couldn't I? That's a good idea. Search for it. Sudoku. Got one. So it has to be a particular write on Kindle book. So they've worked out a way to let you write on the Kindles, but there are only these ones that are actually set up to be a writable book. So it tends to be this kind of low content books like journals with like prompts, or puzzle books like these, so you can write on top of them. So maybe they'll bring it in the future. I don't know. I think that they just didn't add it because they kind of didn't want to. So do you know what? I am going to give that one to the Kobo, because lots of you tell me that you do want this. Writing on books is something that you do want. So just do it, Kindle. Like, this is one of those, treat people like adults. I know you think, okay, no, it's not going to be a good experience. We don't think you want that, but people want it, and they tell me that they want it. So just do it. Okay. Today, what do you think of that? Should I back off a little bit on them? Maybe that was a bit extemporis there. The referee maybe made a bad call. You tell me what you think. But there we are, 1-0. But can the Kindle come back? Well, yes, it can, because just like against the Tab X, this is a whack-on pen, and the Kobo has a active capacitive stylus, which is, it's not so bad that you wouldn't want to do it, but once you've used a good Wacom, it just doesn't feel as quick, and it doesn't feel as accurate. And they've got hard nibs rather than like nice soft ones. Generally, it's just not as pleasing to write. If you're only writing occasional stuff, then you won't find that an issue at all. And if you aren't used to this, then you'll be fine on this. You'll probably pick up and say, what's all the fuss? This is absolutely fine. And it is absolutely fine. But you also need to charge it every now and then. And when it does need charging, it gets less accurate, which is a nuisance. And I charged it today to make sure that it was working well. And it lasts like a month if you charge it anyway. But it's not the same. Just because it's a charged pen doesn't mean it's as accurate as like an Apple Pencil is, because there's no Bluetooth connection as well. So the Apple Pencil is super because it does Bluetooth connection, and the Bluetooth like digitally tells the device where the pen is in space and what its angle is and everything like this, as well as it detecting when it touches and detecting pressure and things like that as well. So this just is active capacitive and has a battery, doesn't make it as good as an Apple Pencil. So yeah, the Kindle Scribe is going to get a goal there for just going with the brand leader. The market leader in screen tech at the minute is Wacom, and they've just gone with them because they know if they don't, then they're going to be losing out in comparisons like this. And then there's the design. Now, I actually like the lighter Kobo compared to the Kindle. There's not much in it, actually. It's only 40 grams. I looked it up today. Only 40 grams in it, but it is lighter, and it is lighter feeling. And actually, because they've saved a bit of material on the case by not putting it back on, generally the whole package is generally lighter than most e-ink tablets are, which I think is really, really good. And yeah, wouldn't kick it out of bed, but generally I like that. I also like the plastic feeling. I like that the plastic never feels cold. I like the case. I like everything about this as a reader. They're kind of, I know you can change orientation of which side you're using it on, but this seems to be the right one because Kobo is the right way up. I like the way you hold it on this side. So I know full well you can change it like that, but now it just feels like the whole device is upside down. Look, and generally, I prefer the design on the Kobo. Although this is fine, and I've talked about this quite a bit, but my Kindle has like a gap between the edge there, which I'm sure I could have got a whole new Kindle sent out to me, but it didn't seem to be enough of an issue. But other people's don't have that. So the premium design, it isn't that impressive. So for design, I'm actually just going to give it to the Kobo Elipsa 2E, and really because this feels better as an e-reader design. Okay, as an e-reader design, this feels better. It feels just right for being feels just right for it being an e-reader. Okay, so the Kindle though, it's going to play that card again. It's going to play the, well, I have a 300 dot per inch screen, and this is the only place you can get that 300 dot per inch screen. So that is going to be a good comeback as well, because if you gave me the choice side by side, the two doesn't look massively different, but certainly it is better, and it is something that you do notice, and you do notice yourself enjoying. It is less pixelated on the 300 dot per inch. It is just a factor better. And if you want the best, well, certainly the Kindle can play that card, and that's what equals them up at 2-all. So how do you decide? I think it's about maybe what else you can actually do with it. And the Scribe still has a lot of work to do, but they have tried. For me personally, it's the extra things you can actually do on the Scribe that would actually sway it. The Scribe drawing on the Kindle Scribe is really, really good. It's almost as good as drawing on the Remarkable or the Tab series. And then there's that integration they brought recently for the Microsoft Word, where you can actually send down a sort of flat Word file which you can scribble on. And, that is not everybody's workflow, but many people out there will need to review documents that come from Word, and actually receiving a document. Oops, that's not one that comes from Word. Receiving a document from Word that you can then go ahead and annotate and then send back to show somebody the changes they need to make. You can make full annotations on it as well. If that's part of your workflow, so all you can do here is just receive the file as a sort of flat file, comes through as a sort of flat Kindle PDF, and you can annotate it, and then you can send it back with your revisions. So if you needed to review a letter or some meeting notes or something and send them back, you could do that. If you need to sign a form or something and send it back, you could send it to you from Word, and you could do it that way as well. And it's not the Word integration that we were hoping for, but it's going to fit into certain workflows. And if it does fit into yours, well, it'll do what it's aiming to do. And lastly, is the way the handwriting recognition works. And I showed you that a little bit earlier on. The Kobo handwriting recognition is accurate. It is quite good, but it is infuriatingly slow, and it is the exact opposite of flow. Whereas handwriting recognition on the Kindle Scribe, if we go to a sensible pen for writing, how do I do this again? It's in the share button here, and then it says send to email. Do you want to send it to your email or not, or you just want to convert it to text? And it converts it straight to a notebook. Doesn't do it in the background like the A5X, but it's not playing against the A5X. That's what I wrote today. And you can see handwriting recognition is got it just fine there. Yeah. So, I think that's a better implementation myself than the whole Nebo thing, where you got it sort of line by line, you can build it up line by line. I think in general, the way you'll use it I do like that, but they could, if they would just make it such that it would actually recognize the previous line whilst you're writing the next one, that would be brilliant. And it can do that. There is the computing power there. It's got a whole couple of cores that it's not even using in the processor, I'm sure. And if it doesn't, then beef up the computing power so it can do that. So that is what is the, maybe it's not the most important thing to everyone, but it does matter to me. And that is why Kindle Scribe is going to score that last minute winner. And this is the semi-final that we were after, and the Kindle is going to go through to the final. Okay, let's have a look what you thought of that, Semi. Glad to help. Yeah, third-party apps and the camera on there, 6, absolutely. Yeah, it was really useful to have around, actually. I did like it. Yeah, certainly do. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They have had different e-ink devices for some time. And yeah, I'm surprised they haven't got it right as well. And they have always been using their own sort of operating system on them as well, as you sort of get this kind of like weird, even if it's attached to a Windows laptop, it has its own little operating house. So yeah, they should have got it right. You're right. Is it good for taking lecture notes? Yes, but is it the best? No, not by a long shot. There's one thing that Lenovo does have. It has microphones, whereas the Kindle Scribe has no microphones at all. And so if you want to be able to record or anything like that, then look at something like the Tab Ultra, or even the Big Me has got a good meeting notes thing that you could use in lectures. You might not necessarily want to record everything that your lecturer says, and you might already have the recording of it, of course, but having the microphones there could be a good option. If they're just like the lecturer suddenly says, these are 3 things you need to make sure you memorize for the test, press record. Be a useful thing, wouldn't it? Yeah, I've been doing Sudokus on crosswords on Scribe, and it's great. Yeah, and I think that's it. I think that's what they're going for. They are trying to make it a different device, and obviously I'm going to talk about Scribe a little bit more, but I personally think they should lean it a bit more towards productivity. Maybe there's an option for the Scribe 2 to have a bit more productivity. You never know. Don't back off at all. That was my. I was going after somebody, wasn't I? Going after one of them. Good. Okay, cool. Let's get on it now, shall we? One more word from me, and thank you very much to Christina for being here. Maybe you can tell us if you're satisfied, or if there's anything that you would like different about your membership. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. If you're here towards the end of the live stream, then I hope it's fair to say that you find this content valuable. I have found a way to offer even more value to you. If you want to go deeper and also to support the channel even more going forwards, channel memberships are a great way to get involved in more of a community and more of a conversational form of content. The key benefits to becoming an Evaluate Everything member are members only live streams where I'll answer your questions and give you my insights into the devices that I'm evaluating even before I've published a full review. So if you do want a bit of a preview of the points that are going to make it into the full review before I've even been able to shoot or edit those videos, you can get involved with that. You can ask questions and request demos and really just discuss and influence the content as it goes forward. I really hope this community grows into a place where we can have a meaningful discussion around these devices that I evaluate. There'll also be community posts for members only discussions, and membership also means that your questions and comments are highlighted to me in my memberships area. There's no change to what I'm offering here for free, but here's an open invite for you to go deeper and help me to evaluate everything. Back to the live stream. Okay, so here we are. This is the final, and it's the Kindle Scribe versus the Boox Tab Ultra C. So if you just skip forward to this point, welcome to the video. For those of you who are watching this recorded, and you've skipped straight to the point where the spike is and everyone's come here. So this has been a long way to get here. It's a bit of a surprise, but one of the best things about a kind of World Cup is there's always a bit of an underdog story. And although this one seems like a bit of a foregone conclusion, you've got the might of the Tab Ultra C. I've gone on record and made videos where this has certainly come out as the top e-ink tablet right now. It is, you know, you'd say this is ranked number one. These are the favorites. These are likely to win. And this is the good old Kindle Scribe. But isn't it weird how the Amazon Kindle Scribe for me is an underdog compared to this device here? So imagine a world where Amazon is an underdog. And I think that's the world of e-ink tablets. And I think that was the mistake they made. And Lenovo have made it now as well. Is kind of underestimating the strength of the competition. And really, I know it's not me that decides all these things and everything like that, and probably Kindle Scribe is probably selling better than the Boox is, but it definitely isn't as good as a tablet. But it's always 11 versus 11 on any given day, so any team can come out as a winner here. So it's worth doing that. It is amazing that this has got the might of Amazon Kindle behind it, and it is a mismatched device to this one. They're not ordinarily the two devices that you would really compare, because if you know you want reading, you probably want to go for the Kindle Scribe. Reading is your main thing. If you know you want productivity, you're probably going to go for the Tab Ultra C. So there really is a bit of a funny comparison to be making as well. And although the Scribe is the underdog in terms of the capabilities, you know, they're not the underdog in terms of where it could be. And I would hope they would listen to some of this and go ahead and improve over time, not on this device per se, but on the future iterations of the large Kindle, because I would love to be looking back and saying, wow, my Kindle Scribe 3, for instance, is the productivity and everything powerhouse, you know, that I would really want it to be, which the Boox Tab Ultra C is close to, but isn't quite there yet, probably. So the Kindle Scribe has that 300 dot per inch screen. That was its big kicker against some of the other tablets, but so does the Boox. The Boox has 300 dot per inch in black and white, but it also has that 150 dot per inch layer with the color layer, which just kind of, it's not underneath, but it just kind of adds to and fills in between the black pixels. And I think Kaleido Free is superb. So actually, if you want to do academic work, you read PDFs which have figures like graphs and tables, then it can be amazing. If you want to read graphic novels, if you like the idea of adding color to your notes, like let's do the colors, let's do the one in green, so it really makes this point for us, then it's amazing. Also, color helps out with every single app that you use here on the device. You know, every app is designed for a screen, an LCD screen, and so color helps you out just get the most out of apps. Kindle Scribe does have an incredibly clear screen. From one page to the next, there is very little ghosting, but can you see why there's very little ghosting from one page to the next? Because it regularly does whole page refreshes. Okay, whereas the mode that I'm in at the minute hardly ever does a whole page refresh, because I think I'm still in the fast mode, am I? No, I'm still in the, back in the balance mode now. And actually, and it does, certain apps does it better than others actually, but it actually clears out the white space as well, which I think is really, really excellent. That is something that once you notice that, you're like, oh, thank you for that. That is really a very, very useful thing, where it just clears out the white space in any given app. It's odd though that some apps it's doing that better. I'm actually getting a bit more ghosting here on the Notes app. Did you spot that? Did you spot it remove the 3? So it is sort of doing some of these kind of local refreshes, and that's only made possible by the use of that GPU. It's not on 3, it's on 1 at the minute. It's been through so many rounds. Yes, the big green one, that was us, wasn't it? Okay, so so the Boox has all these different screen modes, and you can play with them to suit what you want. Like, do you want the scrolling to happen much faster? Do you want actually it to favor screen refreshes so you get more crisp and clean background all the time? So now when I go, you'll see it will actually more often do full screen refreshes. It's hardly doing it in the Notes app, and that is because it knows that it is only the middle part. It's not the whole screen that's often having to do that. So you can choose, you can optimize it to make your own. So you don't have any control over the way the screen behaves really at all, apart from maybe some options about how often it does do a whole screen refresh to remove ghosting, but it doesn't change what it's doing. It just delays doing a whole screen refresh if you don't like that kind of flash. It is a very quick flash. It's all done and all changed very quickly. It's absolutely fine for reading, but for other apps, I think I'm going to show you a little bit later going into browsing. It's just unusable, really. Okay, so the way this thing uses the GPU is just an unrivaled implementation in the whole world of Eink. So it's going to be a goal for the Tab Ultra C. The GPU, it's only had to pull it out now. It's absolutely fabulous. And because of this, it makes it an excellent place to browse the web. And actually, a lot of us do the majority of our reading on the web. Like, I pretty much only read the news on a browser now. Okay, so the use of this, oh man, I'm in ultra fast and it's remembered which I'm in for each app. But generally, I just live in the balanced mode because it just seems to clear up the images really nicely. And generally, I mean, let's look more closely at some of these images. Generally, it looks really, really good, and it looks like newsprint. It looks a little bit better than newsprint, actually, I would say. So we've got some international. These are qualifiers. These are European tournament qualifiers here as well. So generally, you know, it looks really, really good. We've seen this several times. And the Kindle ships with a browser. It does have a browser. Let's not forget. In the More section, it does have a web browser. And if I go to bbc.co.uk here, you can see how well it handles that. It's on IMDb. It's a very, very slow web browser. And you can see it is just like being in HD mode permanently. There's no way to change this. Oh, where's it gone? It is not going to be a pleasant place to get your news from, to get your information from on the internet. Yeah, it's night and day. So it's going to be another goal for the Tab Ultra C. Also, that, you know, moving around an Android tablet is just so intuitive, whereas doing everything on the Kindle is just not. But I know that's because I'm used to using Android. I'm going to use it every single day on my phone. Probably sometimes hundreds of times a day on my phone, but and also on these tablets I use quite a lot. I'm testing out an Android one at the minute as well. But I just think having that recents tab and things like that is just such an easy way to get around a tablet. So Kindle better change their tactics a little bit, and they're going to try and play to their strengths now. And we're going to talk about how Kindle is a distraction-free device. And well, this must be one of the greatest feats of marketing ever, really, to convince everybody that fewer features is actually an aspirational goal. That being able to do less on a device is actually a benefit, because of course you can just turn notifications off on. So you go do not disturb mode here on the Boox devices, and you just get nothing in that tray there as well. And yeah, I've gone on record and I have said that because you can do more. You know, I don't use this device for notes maybe quite as much as I would if I had another Eink tablet. But that's because if I want to write something down, I want to write it into X tiles so that I have it in all my different browsers and things like that. That is actually what I do. Or I want to access my scripts and copy and paste into my scripts, or edit my scripts, or write with the keyboard directly into Docs. You know, these are the things. Or I want to go into my school OneDrive and actually go ahead and change that PowerPoint that I was working on for tomorrow. Or I want to use it to project to my whiteboard by either Miracast or by the Promethean app, or use Display Link from my computer, or any of these other things, Space Desk that I use from the computer here. There's so many other options, whereas on a distraction-free device, or in other words, feature-free, then you just don't have those options. And I can understand how for some people that might be the case, but I would say if you really are struggling to focus, then it's probably better to look at ways that you can sort of train yourself to get out of the habits of being distractible, rather than think that buying a new device is going to help you with that. So there's no scores here, because they can both be as distraction free or as distracting as you like. So handwriting recognition next is very good on the Kindle. I just showed that off on the last one. It's something that I would use if I was to go full-time on the Kindle. I'd be using that regularly. But actually, handwriting recognition on the books, I can do that in any app at all. I can call up a text layer here, and then I can type in it with handwriting recognition. Okay, or I can actually speak to it. I can use voice typing here, and it will get that as well. Didn't quite get that, so I better then open up the keyboard case. Don't know how to move this. I can move around like that. Okay, so there's just so many options, really, isn't there? And I can sit, and if I'm comfortable typing, I can sit and I can type for long periods on this case as well. It's really quite good. I can write scripts. I can write emails. I can write directly into Word. Just bin that. See the software. It's not always immediately obvious how you do absolutely everything. Is it in there? Why would it be in the three dots? Yeah, okay, so just give me the delete sign there. Ugh. Such a frustrating thing there. But again, honestly, forgive it, all of these things, because I'm just like, well, okay, I don't honestly type into this note-taking app very often. If I wanted to do some typing, I would just do it directly into Xtiles, or I would do it directly into Word, or wherever I wanted the text to be. I don't often want to write text into the Notes app. But, you know, once you've found that's there, okay, it's a bit silly that there's just one extra thing and it's delete. So it could have just been a delete symbol there. But that, you know, you learn those things, and you kind of can forgive them, because it is so good with the other apps. I mean, I could give a consolation goal. I could say it's an own goal. On screen is an own goal from the Tab Ultra C there for sure. Got to be fair. And but as I said, I can write the scripts. I can keep the scripts wherever they are. I can carry on with them. I can use my school's OneDrive. I can use my personal OneDrive. All of the things I can do here as well. I think my camera has gone off. So we'll finish off with just the things on screen. Hopefully we're still here. And that own goal is going to be a bit of a consolation goal. And what I would say is whenever I do want to read something here on the books, I can always go into the Kindle app, of course, and I can read on here as well. But the Kindle Scribe is a better place to read. There is no doubt about it. It's not just the difference in the apps. If you want to read something, I often do. If I want to just sit on the sofa and read, then I will, out of the two, I'm going to pick up the Kindle Scribe for sure, just for reading. I'm going to do that. And I said I quite like the note-taking implementation on there as well. So because I have it, it's there. And you can't actually do handwritten notes on the app, unfortunately, here. What you can do is have it side by side with the note-taking app as well, though, which is what I would do if I was reading here on a Books to Us, and do that regularly also as well with Kindle. Don't need to go back out of that. I need to get back into the score here. But I would say that, yeah, for reading, the Kindle Scribe is the better device. If it's just purely words and notes on those words, then it is the better device there, really. And all of that's going to be a bit of a consolation, though, because although they're going to go on the attack again with their Word integration and say that the Word integration, you can send things to Word and you can annotate them on here and send them back. But you can't. You can only send them back to an email. You can't send them back to Word and have them editable in Word. It's only one way, which, again, I don't think that's what they should have done. I would love to have seen a far more full Microsoft integration here. But, of course, on here, you can just go into the Android Word app. If you can do it on the Android Word app, you can do it here on the Tab Ultra C. So I think this is a counter-attacking goal there from the Tab Ultra C. So from there on, I'm afraid it's just champagne football from Boox. You know, it's just Olé football, you'd say. They're just passing it to each other and keeping the ball, and they're going to stop Kindle Scribe from being able to do anything else. The Kindle Scribe should have launched as a different device to this, in my opinion. And the features it has now, they should have been there at launch. And really, we should have the direction of travel, which is taking us towards a more fully featured Android device. I hope the folks at Amazon can see how their device gets smashed in every way by just a small group of talented people that work at Boox. And I hope that the Scribe 2 gets launched the way it should be, and it becomes a sort of halfway house between the Kindle and the Fire devices. Maybe we could call it a Kindle Fire, if you like. So this is the winner of this year's winning. I'm going to switch out this pen with tilt. Pencil tool with tilt. And the Kindle is going to be runner-up. Not bad showing from either of them. Last few little comments. This has been a little bit more of a kind of marathon. I've been wondering about doing some marathon kind of content, marathon live streams. I don't know. We'll see. Christina's lurking whilst at work. Okay, I won't tell you what. Maybe go back and flick through the replay later on, mate. Yeah, and as long as your screen has a mirrorcast, so just in here you can see screencast. That's just normal mirrorcast. It's going to search for devices. Probably it'll find my TV if it's on, and then you just click on it and you can cast with no issues whatsoever. It's just fine. You can't do that on the Kindle. You can, so yes, basically if it's one of the Android ones, normally they have mirrorcast. At some point, why bother with an Eink tablet if you're after productivity and the iPad exists? Well, this is a question I'm going to revisit, actually, Woolly Bully, because I tried using the iPad as my main planner, and I just couldn't live with it because I was just therefore looking at another LCD screen for most of the day. And these are paper-like screens. They're reflective screens. They're much nicer on your eyes than that. You also don't get the issue of having different lighting conditions affect you, and you can read these in any lighting conditions, just like you would a sheet of paper. Even in total darkness, you can just have a touch of the warm light, and that's really, really a nice way to read. So there's lots of reasons why these are better than the iPad for productivity, and because they're getting so much better. I mean, the only thing that I wouldn't do on here that I might do on an iPad is photo editing or watching videos, or video editing as well, but I'm going to do that on a big computer anyway. But you can do it on iPad now. They're fabulous for it now. But yeah, I just think they're different devices. But I do think that I would rather write on here, and I do think that I would rather read on here, and I'd rather do just about every other app on an e-ink tablet. As long as it's, the screen is performing well enough, I'd rather do just about every other app, every other productivity process here on an e-ink tablet. It's just, since it's one of those things, if you haven't used one, then you might wonder why nobody would bother. I mean, Ruby's answer there. Yeah. Sunlight visibility, eye strain. fewer distractions. I mean, yeah, I do think that that's a kind of personal one, that distraction thing. But certainly, like, because I won't use YouTube on here, and I might on an iPad or any other screen. Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm going to revisit that question: Eink versus iPad again in the near future. iPads are great, absolutely wonderful. I think they're different devices, though. I think unfortunately iPads are closer to toys than I'm gonna get some hate on that one, I'm sure, than most other things. And yeah, I do. It's almost like you see the iPad as being the place that you go to play about with your photos or to watch some YouTube and things like that, rather than and it certainly is. The iPad becomes our sort of media center when we go on holiday and things like that, which is really useful, really useful, and it's a really good device for that purpose. But the e-ink tablet is just something totally different. It's just right. It's just right for sitting next door to a computer. That being said, still for a lot of people, I would still recommend an iPad over an e-ink tablet. But there's certainly, since I've started using e-ink tablets, I would not do without one now. I would not have an e-ink tablet. There is not a chance. Cool. I think we just got one more point here. Yeah, the Boox handwriting keyboard does work surprisingly well. And yeah, putting headings and things like that in pages is a very useful thing. So you can actually search through, and one thing you can do here is you can search through the entirety of your note library if you wish, or you can search an individual thing and it will search just the titles, as you said, just the tags, or it will search the whole text or just handwriting. You can choose to search whatever you wish. So if I search handwriting and I search for books, it will probably take quite a while because it will have to go through and recognize all the handwriting that's in there. But you see, it's going to go ahead and search through literally every single page in the whole thing. And yeah, if you put those in titles and things like that, then you can actually, it will search it a bit quicker. And it's certainly if you just search through tags. So you can do all the things here. They're just not as sort of baked in. They're not the only way of doing it. So they're not perfected. And perfections, obviously, you can't reach perfection, but they're not as polished as they are on some of the other tablets. But if you think, well, I like the feature that the Remarkable has, I like the feature that the Supernote has, probably you'll find it on the Boox as well, which is a great thing. And the best thing for me is the feature is that it is just like an Android tablet, but with the e-ink screen. And e-ink screens, to go back to Woolly Bully's point here, e-ink screens are the feature of these things which makes them stand out. That's why you're here to see e-ink tablets compared, because you're either a bit of an e-ink addict like I am now, or you're considering buying one because you've heard or you've seen a colleague maybe you've seen a colleague that's using one and really enjoying it, and they say, well, I just wouldn't go back because of all these reasons. Don't have to charge it every day. Great on my eyes, really good to read in all different lighting conditions, just a different place, less distracting, all of those things. So there's loads of reasons there. And Carlas does it, index a search it. Once you've gone through and searched it all, it then knows all that handwriting. So next time you search, it doesn't take quite as long. And so I don't think I've ever searched throughout all the notepads on this. I think it'll probably be gone where it was. But if I now go into notepads and search, it won't start from the beginning. It will have done a handwriting conversion on all the notepads. And so, well, it would have done all of them yet, probably. It would have done the first few. So if I just write something more different, I would have written see, it's much quicker through those first notepads now. And massively quick. See, it's searching page 6 of 8, and it did all the governance ones before. So it's it goes much more quickly once it's gone through that. It's found one so far as well, but I'm just going to cancel it because that has been a bit of a marathon. 2 hours is like twice as long as I would normally spend on a live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for chilling out with me. I will see you after. I'll see you soon. There's lots more content coming on the channel soon as well.